Hey, guys, me again, Rusty. Um, Going over day 5 of the assessment of self. um, One of the things that comes up, um, one of the things that I kind of have been kind of going over is kind of breaking down the logistics essentially for being slighted. Meaning, first, it essentially starts off with rude. Then rude goes to offensive. Then offensive goes to hurt. Hurt goes to impactful. Impactful then goes to traumatic. Invariably speaking, there are different degrees. Rude versus offensive. Um, the way that I'm able to break it down is um, rude is something that you can personalize, but it's not personal. Offensive is something that's personal. So when somebody is talking about, um, I've said some, when somebody, yeah, when someone is talking about something that, for example, a meal that is eaten, or um, a service at church, or a seminar they went to, or something their boss said about another coworker. That could be something that's rude because it has nothing to do with you. Now, when somebody goes and says something rude about something that you personally have in contact with, for example, if it's your choices in friends, if it's your choices in partner, um, whether that's business, romantic, um, whether that's your kids. Ooh, my baby is I call her a dumpling. She's well taken care of. I mean, she eats food and she drinks water on a regular basis. She grooms herself, she goes to the bathroom, stuff like that. But she's well fed. Her diet consists, because I'm a bad mom, of like treats and then wet food. She has dry food available if it's something that she wants, but usually that's not what she goes for. When people use the F word around her, it's and they call her it's FAT. When they call her that word, like her specifically, it's one thing to sit there and say, "Oh, my cat is like this. My cat is, FAT." But when they call her that, that really upsets me. Um, when I was young, I always wondered what happened to a person to get them to a place where they are and why they stay that way. Like, what do they get out of it? Stuff like anger, um, jealousy. Those were things that I had to learn. It's not innate, it's not inherent, it is not natural to me. I remember getting jealous in a relationship I had once with a lady. it was kind of my first serious commitment. Um, and I remember the emotions and the behavioral changes, and comprehensively I could comprehend, but I couldn't understand why a person would be like that. I was always happy for what somebody had. I was always proud of them, proud for them, happy for them. You did good. And doing good looks good on you, but when it turns into a competition, it gets kind of scary and sometimes ugly. I know when I try and think highly of myself, which I normally, it doesn't. Blind spot, by the way. I don't know what you're talking about. Like comprehensively, I can comprehend, I can understand definition and stuff like that, but there are certain things due to my background and just because of how I'm built, I don't know. And some of the things when it comes to stuff like flattery, um, intimate or romantic or flirtatious inclinations, makes me really, really apprehensive. One of the things, tying back to one of the things I brought up earlier, we have rude, offensive. After the impact, the trauma, there's betrayal. And I don't know if any of you have ever been stabbed in the back or thrown under a bus. And I know that I've done that to people. But I am so sorry. I'm sorry that somebody has to go through that. We'll get into that further. One of the things that I don't understand, I've never in my entire life, literally, literally, ever, ever been envious. I was jealous once. Variations of thoughts settle in when safety in this moment, safety in general, support, when it surfaces, it hurts sometimes. Um, one of the things in regards to either, I don't know if it's degrading, like degradation of, or if it's deterioration or division. I don't know. But there's a difference, I think, between being sad, being depressed. I get depressed. At every level that I have been at, there's always been a certain degree of responsibility that I have to at least maintain myself when I'm around others. It's not a false pretense, it's sometimes hopeful aspirations, sometimes it's all I have left to keep going. That's depressed. But again, at every level, there has always been a certain degree of responsibility in which I am able to function. um, Can I ask you guys a question? What would you do if you really honestly believed that somebody was good and you found out they were like a covert narcissist or I don't know, sociopathic, Machiavellian? It's been the course of almost 2 years, almost 3 in August, and I have been put through every kind of abuse, from mental to emotional to psychological to sexual to physical, spiritual. During this time, I have been trying to make adjustments and improvements and develop the areas that I've been lacking in. Does it ever occur to anyone else to start with yourself? Because you know you made a mistake? Is that remorse? Throwing in a side note, blowing my nose real quick. Throwing in a side note, variably speaking, narcissism, you could go antisocial, then you could go sociopathy, and then you could go psychopathy. Varying degrees, I was wrong. One size does not fit all, but where I was right in the one size fit all, I think, or not right, I was mistaken. And I needed to be corrected in regards to the one size fits all because that is true. I have educated myself in terms and patterns in well around half a dozen different types of narcissists. One of the things that's interesting about narcissism, they have low levels of remorse and low levels of empathy. And depending on whether you are something more like neglectful, vulnerable, um, vanity, communal, you may have higher degrees of low levels of empathy versus something more like overt covert or malignant. They're going to have definitely more significantly lower than the lower and the low empathy. Sociopathy. When it comes to sociopaths, one of the things that's interesting on observational notes, if I hyper focus, it's easier to help myself regulate. It's a form of self soothing. Sociopathy, lacking completely in empathy, and now there are low degree, and now the degrees of remorse are starting to lack further. Psychopathy, no remorse, no empathy. Empathy is one of the defining factors that allows a person to feel what another person is going to feel. Cognitive empathy, I can understand, I can comprehend. Emotional, I feel, I can relate on a feeling. Compassionate, I understand. Intuition is more interesting because it ties over more into knowing factor. Like you just know. It's like, no, something's not right here. Like, um, for me, I will literally gasp, like, and hold my breath, like, for an extended period of time. When I'll make the same kind of gasping sound. For example, if my friend is standing behind me and I don't realize it, and I turn around and they're there, I'm like, Gah! Duh! But that doesn't last as long. This is just kind of streaming consciousness. It's like when you turn the water on the faucet and it just runs. It's like live streaming. One of the things I think that's interesting about intuition that I've noticed is that because it's more cognitive and it develops knowing, um, sorry, my arm itched, and then I got distracted by the itch because I was like, ooh, my arm itches, I'm gonna scratch it. And then I scratched it and I felt better. But then I forgot what I was talking about. It happens. Does anyone else ever wonder where thoughts and like memories go when 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 they're gone or when you lose them? Mm, that reminded myself of some of the intuition. Mm, good job, kid. Intuition seems to be, because it's cognitive, it relates more into, I think, the transitional area is cognitive empathy, in which intuition and empathy kind of correlate. Intuition ties more over to the knowing factor, and the knowing factor goes into conscious levels, unconscious, and subconscious. It's kind of like how in your dreams, how you can have I think dreams is the area in which your unconscious mind can sort through the conscious factors that your brain wasn't able to process at the time, so it's stored there. Subconscious ties more over into a person's core, like values and beliefs and wounds and stuff. um Also, if ooh, this is an interesting one. It's just point of view, right? But one of the things that's interesting about dreams is there's a thing called lucid dreaming. And that's where you literally have a certain amount of control, quote unquote, over your dreams and what you do in them. A lot of times people are just dreaming, and once again, it's turning the faucet on, it's live streaming, it's just a way to break and process everything. When you have dreams about another person, that means that that person has connected to you on a subconscious level. Now, lucid dreaming is interesting. If you ever remember to try this, whenever you dream, try and look at your palms, the palms of your hands, okay? The palms of your hands. If you are able to look at the palms of your hands, then you have more control over your dreams. Which, why would this? What does what makes a difference about this? This is where you can actually go and ask questions that consciously you don't have answers for, or places you want to see, or things you want to do. Flying. Do you want to have superpower? Do you want to control electricity? Um, for me, I'm able to tell. For me, dreams are a little bit weird for me because I don't know if this works for anybody else, but it's does any I on a subconscious level that kind of bleeds into my unconscious mind is, I think, where premonitions come into play. I think deja vu is that moment you're like, I think I've done this before. I think deja vu is kind of like that moment when you have had a dream and it's now become quite literally a reality. It's like, oh, it's physically real. Like this is actually real. Whoa. I've been able to realize when I've been in somebody else's dream before. I've shared dreams before. I value a deep connection. It's not that I hate things like chit chat and small talk and stuff, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to talk. I can go over what the kids' homework is. I can go over what we're having, dinner ideas. Um, do you have any business plans or ideas? Is there any resources that you've looked up or referrals you have? Can I help assist find any? Um, excuse me. My brother is the kind of person who told me one time that he thinks everybody is capable of learning anything. I agree to a certain extent that anyone is capable of learning, but if you don't do anything with it and it doesn't change, I'm I don't know about anybody else, but I'm trying to not be who I was. It's weird when everything, even the lies, catch up all at once. Well, I guess those are the ideas getting off my chest, I guess. Thanks for being here. Um, ooh, about the channel, bad opinion. Um, uh, Periodically, I'll probably be making adjustments here and there. That means adding, deleting, stuff like that. Um, it's I'm gonna try my best to keep the videos up there. I've deleted them before, but that's because they were complete shite. And as interesting as it would be to see where I am now versus where when I started, does anyone else not watch all the stuff? Like, I don't even watch all my videos. I haven't even seen all the stuff on like my I don't even heard all the songs on my playlist. So if you just pass on by it, it's okay. I I do the same thing. So thanks for letting me cry and being here. There's a song out there by Shania Twain called The Hardest Stone, and having a change of heart is really the hardest thing to do. I think changing a heart, having a change of heart is just as hard as finding your way back to yourself when you've been lost. I'm talking about me. I wandered so far away from myself, falling for the bait of someone else's life. I forgot to live my own. It's a good thing that better late than never exists, huh? Okay. Well, feel free to like, share, subscribe. Um, Thank you. I think. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure having your views, I guess. Is that how? I mean, I think it helps with the algorithm, which is that when I hear algorithm, I'm all. Like, that's what comes to mind. Okay, kids. Well, talk to you later. Thanks for letting me just talk. And thank you again for letting me cry. To the ones I love who are in my life today, thank you. To the ones who are in my life that I have no association to, hi. To the people I don't know who are out there, welcome. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye.